welcome to gemchem. Now today's video is on solid state part 4 video, and here we will deal with X-ray diffraction and Bragg's law. Now before starting, if you have not watched the previous video on solid state part 3 video, you can watch it. I will give the link in the description box as well as the I button present above this video, that is here. Now let us see today's video. Now here, first we will deal with interference effect of light on crystal system. Now first of all, we know that light is an electromagnetic radiation which consists of a wave, right, which propagates through the space with the speed of light. So it can be represented as this, that is a wave, right. Now it has certain velocity as well as it has also certain frequency and wavelength, which is related as this one, right, that is this frequency is equal to c by lambda. So this is important. Now we will see that two waves interact to form destructive and constructive interference. So let us see. Now see this one, two waves coming from two different sources having same wavelength and same amplitude reinforce each other when their maxima and minima coincide, and this is known as constructive interference, where amplitude increases. Okay, and two waves when coming from two different sources having the same wavelength and same amplitude interfere each other and exactly cancel each other when their maxima and minima do not coincide. This is known as destructive interference, and here amplitude decreases. So how amplitude is obtained of the resultant wave at any point? It is obtained by the algebraic sum of the amplitudes of two individual waves at a point. Now see, this interference phenomena which we have observed here forms the basis of diffraction of light by diffraction grating. Now what do we mean by diffraction grating? It is important, right? So diffraction grating consists of a transparent medium on which are ruled a large number of very fine equidistant parallel opaque lines, that is this one. Okay, now when a light, suppose here a monochromatic source of light is placed and light comes and gets incident perpendicular to the grating, that is this one. So what happens? All the clear spaces will act as secondary sources of light, and therefore it will emit light waves in all direction radially outwards. Okay, and the wavelengths and frequency of the diffracted light waves are same as that of the incident light rays, that is the ones coming from here and getting away will have same wavelength. Okay, the waves from two apertures will cross at some point, that is one wave from here and one wave from here will cross at a point where the screen is being placed. Okay, and a bright spot is obtained where the waves from adjacent apertures in the grating reinforce one another. That is, when these waves reinforce, there is a bright spot, and when there is no reinforcement, a dark spot arises. This is due to the destructive interference. So what we will observe in the screen? We will observe an alternative dark and white spot in the screen. Okay, and now we will find out the condition for having a bright spot, that is a constructive interference. The essential condition for this is that the extra distance traveled by waves is always an integral multiple of wavelength. What is the extra distance traveled by wave? See this one, when it is here, it has already traveled this part. So this is the extra distance which is taken as Fg. So it is Fg is an integral multiple of the wavelength, that is n lambda, and n here is an integer, that is from 0, 1, 2, it continues. Okay, now from here, from this diagram, we can write that Fg is d sine theta because this part is d. So this one will be d sine theta. So it can be written as Fg equal to d sine theta. So when we compare this to, the resultant which comes is n lambda equals to d sine theta. and this is important equation. Okay, now we will see diffraction of X-ray by crystals. Okay, now Max von Laue was the first who predicted that since the wavelength of X-rays is in order of distance between atoms in crystals, so the crystal system will act as diffraction gradient. Okay, so crystal system is taken as diffraction gradient. Say this one, a monochromatic X-ray comes from here and this is acting as a diffraction gradient, this crystal, and it diffracts the light, and what we get in result is a bright spot. These are the bright spots and the remaining portions are the dark spots. So these spots are known as Laue's spots. Okay, now since these acts as a three-dimensional diffraction grating, thus if a beam of non-homogeneous X-ray were passed through, diffraction pattern will be greatly observed, and this was a prediction of Max von Laue. And next we will see about the Bragg. He was the first to devise crystal as a diffraction grating as well as reflection grating. He was in an opinion that since the crystal is composed of a series of equally spaced atomic planes, it can be employed not only for transmission grating but also as a reflection grating. Now see, if the reflected waves from the successive layers are out of phase, then due to the destructive interference, no diffraction will be observed. But if the reflected waves, which we have already understood that reflection will occur through the grating, then if it is in phase, then due to that constructive interference will be observed and a diffraction spot will be also seen. So this condition can be derived through Bragg's equation. So let us see how to derive the Bragg's equation. Now see this one. A light ray comes from here, reflects back to give C wave. Right. Now first we have to consider the incident angle, that is theta. This is the incident angle of the monochromatic X-ray with the parallel equidistant planes of the atoms with interplanar spacings equal to d. That is, it is reflecting through these interplanar spaces and the distance between two planes is d, and the X-ray has a wavelength of lambda. Okay, now see, the waves are in phase before striking the planes. Two such waves labeled is here as wave 1 and wave 2. Okay, after the reflection, two waves will be in phase. Okay, provided the extra distance traveled by wave 2 is an integral multiple of the wavelength. We have already seen that the extra distance should be integral multiple. We have already seen that n lambda is equal to d sine theta. So what we obtain is that from this figure is AB is equal to, we know, dg, okay, and BC is equal to HF, and from here present, that is this part, GE and EH. GE and EH is d sine theta. Okay, and d is this one, this distance only, so d sine theta. Now what is the extra distance traveled by wave 2? It is given as by DEF minus ABC. So it can be written as this one, that is DG plus GE plus EH plus HF, and this is minus AB plus BC, and this total, see this one, this part, we know DG is equal to AB, right, and this one, that is EH is equal to GE, so this one, and HF is equal to BC, so BC and AB cancels, and what is left with is GE plus EH, and we have already seen that GE and EH are same, so we can write it as 2d sine theta. And previously we have seen that the extra distance traveled by wave is given by integral multiple of lambda. So we can write it equal to n lambda. So what is the Bragg's equation? N lambda equals to 2d sine theta, and this n is integer 1, 2, 3 and goes on. So thus we have derived the Bragg's equation or Bragg's law. Now this Bragg's equation can be written alternatively as this one: lambda equals to 2 d by n sine theta. Okay, and this 2d by n can be written as d and HKL, the d obtained from HKL, sine theta. Okay, and DHKL is actually the perpendicular distance between the adjacent planes having the indices HKL. So these were the two forms of the Bragg equation. So this much for today. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe and comment.